Hi everyone, Kelp here, bringing you my thoughts on the British royal family, and today I'll be talking about how even Meghan's previously close and loyal friends are now dropping her, and what the future might hold for her now that she has markled almost everything she's got involved with. And I'll also be touching on the bits and pieces of news that have been coming out about her connections and Andrew's connections with J.E., I'll refer to him as. Elton John is the latest and really went to town on his opinion of her. Now that the J.E. flight list and files have been made public, it means that many of them are running for the hills and also throwing anyone they can under the bus in the meantime as a distraction. And a distraction it is. Elton was showing signs previously of not being happy with Meghan, and now he's publicly denounced her. And also, so has Sheryl Crow, who also had a few choice words to insult Meghan. All her attempts at getting into Hollywood failed, and now there are big names who are calling her out on her behaviour, and it looks as though all fingers are pointing at her right now. Sometimes it's Harry, sometimes it's both of them, but right now it seems to be her. Elton's name is on the flight list, and so it goes to follow that he would be appearing to be panicking a little. I've also heard that they can't just up and go, that they will be intercepted at various points of exiting the country, but it's a visual that is needed at this time. In the meantime, Meghan is the butt of all the jokes. I know this is all for show, but even some of the things that they are saying seem to be way too extreme for the people concerned and quite a bit out of character. But then, so many of them seem different nowadays. Not only do they look differently, they're acting differently. Look at Madonna, for example. She seems like a totally different person. Back to Meghan. I've said for years now that there is video of her verbally abusing staff and even of her altercations with Harry. Also, many audio recordings which can be proven to be authentic. Once the first few come out, then everyone will be making public their proof, just as a few started saying what they really thought of her, and now even more are coming out and speaking out regarding her. It really seems as though she markled herself. She has fewer options than ever. She cannot come back to the UK as a working royal. She cannot rely on former friends who could have helped her. The only one left seems to be Marcus Anderson, who's very elusive, and many are waiting to see if there is a J.E. file with his name on it. New talk now of Meghan's mother Doria moving in with them to help them through, and I quote, tough times. Well, the mainstream news seems to be very behind with the news, because we all know that Meghan's mum moved in with Harry and Meghan years ago, and so did Marcus Anderson. Whether he's there all the time, I don't know, but it was known that Doria was there at least. Well, Doria had been acting as the nanny and doing imaginary work for money, I guess. We know that Meghan was yachting with a close female friend of J.E.'s, so there is a connection. Also, the old statement saying that Meghan was a person who was likely to be called to give evidence due to her previous relationship with Prince Andrew is quite relevant now. The wording of that shows a relationship before she became a royal. It also refers to her observing what Prince Andrew got up to, and we know that this cannot possibly refer to the times she would have been in the same room as Andrew since marrying Harry. It would have referred to beforehand, and it would obviously mean something that was quite serious. All the pictures and video of the times they were at royal events, they rarely stood near each other, and when they did, they barely interacted, and Andrew actively avoided her. This statement must refer to them when they were together on yachts before she met Harry. It's coming out on various media platforms that Meghan has come under fire for her ties to the convicted offender J.E., and that she attended a lunch at his New York home in 2010, and this was just months before he was arrested on ST charges. Doesn't look good if it's true, but I believe he was most certainly an organiser of one of the yachting excursions that Meghan was on. I said it would all come out, and this is the beginning for sure. Regarding the rumours that Prince Andrew offered up his daughter, and it was said it was Beatrice, to JE as payment for debts, I think this is probably not quite true, but an exaggeration and twisting of what really happened. But I have heard that Beatrice was negatively affected by JE. Something happened which affected her on her 18th birthday, and I'm leaving it at that. I don't know all the facts regarding that, but I'm sure they'll come out. But I'm not assuming that he sold his daughter. I think that's stretching it. Other European monarchs have stepped down to hand over the crown to their first in line, the most recent being Queen Margrethe II. She announced this back on New Year's Eve on Sunday, and it surprised everybody. It was on air, live, and she's handing over to her son, Crown Prince Frederick. So, a lot of talk about whether this would lead to King Charles doing the same and letting William and Catherine take over. It's pretty obvious that he's been preparing them anyway, but would he do this soon? People are wondering. I think he might. This has brought about a new surge of public, I shall call them suggestions rather than demands, for King Charles to do the same. He had been training since a teenager for this role of king, so this last year has been especially important for him to do the job for which he was destined, or at least to do it for a while. I've heard that he's not averse to handing over to William in the next year or two, but William is reluctant to be king until George is old enough to cope with the role of next in line. William and Catherine are letting him be a child at the same time as preparing him for his future responsibilities. There is so much happening in the world, and I believe the European monarchies will look very different moving forward. What Harry and his wife will be doing is anyone's guess. Let me have your thoughts on all of this, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching. Bye.